Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love MMA as much as I do. You know, I've talked about Sambo a lot, how fighters use Sambo. Sergey Pavlovich, I've talked about Fedor, Habib, Islam, all these great fighters. And that's a big part of their success in MMA. And normally I think you guys would agree with me when I say somebody who does Sambo when they fight a guy who primarily is known for striking, the Sambo guy should win. For the first time on my YouTube channel, I'm not picking the Sambo guy. I'm picking Yoel Romero to knock out Vadim within 3 rounds. Here's the problem. Let's look at who all Yoel has lost to in terms of fighting styles. Cavalcante knocked him out over a decade ago in Strikeforce. He's a striker. Whitaker beat him twice, which arguably the last fight could have gone to Romero because it was a split decision. He's a striker primarily. Costa's a striker. Izzy's a striker. He never got knocked out in the UFC. You know? And last time, and the 2 guys he fought that were high-level grapplers like Weidman and Rockhold, he broke both their jaws. At least he broke Rockhold's jaw. I don't know if he broke Chris's, but he did knock him out. So, I think him fighting a grappler goes into his favor because if you do some research on Romero, yes, he's an elite striker. He's a heavy hitter. And yeah, he's got a tough chin, so it's hard to put him away. But he also comes from a very strong Cuban wrestling background. And he's been known for that. He tells you flat out, I just choose to stand. So, in this fight, you also got to consider the fact that he had 3 title fights in UFC. He lost all 3. Well, I think 2. I think he should have had that second fight with Whitaker. But that's besides the point. The point is, he has yet to taste gold. He's 44, 45 years old, and it's not what you think. I'm not about to say his time's running out. If anything, he still looks the same as he did in the UFC, just a lot bigger because now he's not 185, he's 205 now. And he might just be a tad bit slower, but he's still got a hard chin. He can still hit hard. He can still put guys out. He's still dangerous. And the fact that when he strikes you, he's patient, that makes him more dangerous. Because when you're striking with him and you see he's not really hitting much, he's just waiting back, like, and then you don't know when that pop is coming. So that makes him more dangerous. For Vadim, I think he's going to try to take Romero down early and often. He's going to fail to do that. You also have to consider that Yoel is very, very powerful. He's a very strong man, not just with strength, not just with punching, but he can wrestle. That's how he beat guys like Weidman and Rockhold. They could not take him down. They had to stand with him. You saw what happened. So, with that being said, I think Vadim, he's going to have a great career. He's a great fighter. I just don't think it's quite his time where he's hitting his stride and his peak as a champion yet. So, I think the fact that he's fighting a guy so much more experienced, a guy who has yet to be champion and deserves to be champion in my book, and not just that I'm a big Yoel Romero fan. I think Romero's going to force this guy to stand up in the 2nd and 3rd round, and Vadim's just going to be real frustrated because he can't use his Sambo to take him down because he's too doggone strong. And I think he's just going to get caught with a big left or right hook, and he's going to get put down, and Romero's going to finish it up with some vicious ground and pound. Referee stops it. He might make it to the early 4th round, but there's no way he's making it to distance. I think Yoel gets I see Yoel getting a 3rd or mid-late 3rd, early 4th round TKO finish. I think he wins the title. I think he deserves it. He has the skill set to beat Vadim. What helps him from fighting in the UFC and now Bellator is, yeah, Bellator has great fighters. And I think there's a handful of those guys that can fight in the UFC now and be at the top of the level. But not whole roster is not at the level of the UFC. The UFC has the best fighters. So now that he's fought Izzy and Whitaker, the best guys over there, and hung with them, he should be able to go to a different promotion, a little bit not quite as good, and be able to beat the competition over there. And I think that's going to help out Yoel too. I don't think the age is much of a factor. In his last 2 fights, he fought for the first time in 2-3 years since his Izzy fight. He still looked the same, minus the extra weight added because he's moving up to 205. But I think he knocks out Vadim within 3 rounds.